Desmond Doss, The Unarmed Hero by Brody Simons, Isabella Gause, Owen Morecambe, and Declan Frank. Desmond Thomas Doss was born on February 7, 1919, in a rural home in Lynchburg, Virginia. Desmond Doss's parents were William Thomas Doss and Bertha Edward Oliver Doss. He had a brother named Howard Doss.
Desmond's dad was a big alcoholic. Desmond didn't believe in violence and had a hatred for weapons because his father pulled a gun on his uncle when he was very young. He had a strong belief in God, and because of this, his nickname was Preacher. He was raised as a strict Seventh-day Adventist church when he was 21. On March of 1941, Doss began as a ship joiner at Newport News Naval Shipyard and traveled 6 miles as a child to donate blood to a stranger twice a week. He liked to do wrestling, but his brother didn't like wrestling Doss, not because he was good, but because he never gave up.
Desmond Doss hit his brother on the head with a brick in a fight when they were fairly young. He worked at a lumber company after 1 year of high school.
At the young age of 18, Desmond Doss joined the Army as a combat medic. When the Army told him to carry a gun, Desmond refused, which earned him the unflattering title of conscientious objector. Doss later remarked after the Battle of Okinawa, "I just couldn't picture Christ with a rifle killing people." The Army assigned him to a rifle company in hopes he would leave the Army. Sadly, he was too faithful, which left him to be beaten up and abused by the other soldiers in his tent.
Doss's comrades hated Doss for not working on his Sabbath day. This is beside the fact that he was assigned the most difficult and time-consuming tasks. Not a single person in his platoon would talk to him or befriend him, and with no friends, no one had his back. He was even threatened by a fellow soldier that he would make sure that Doss would not come back. Surprisingly, he dismissed their cruel behavior and stayed strong and refused to leave the Army no matter what.
Hacksaw Ridge was on May 5, 1945. People were killed instantly, and the Japanese planned on bombing the ridge. Desmond ran in combat alone for comrades who had been left for dead and treated them. Doss tried to save as many people as possible. He crawled and dragged comrades to the edge of the ridge to lower them down the very thick rope, tied with a knot that he learned while he was in training, for 18 hours to save countless of lives. He refused to leave a single person behind. He suffered from many injuries after the war. He claimed that God saved his life.
Most of the soldiers' guns jammed right as Desmond was in the sights. 2 weeks later, he was in a battle in a foxhole and a grenade was launched in. He knew that it was active and tried to kick it away, but it blew up and sent shrapnel all down his left leg. He treated his wounds by himself. 5 hours later, a stretcher arrived, but he rolled off of it because he saw another wounded comrade and crawled to them and helped them. He crawled 300 yards to an aid station by himself, but little did he know he lost his Bible. While crawling, a sniper shot him in his left arm and broke every bone in his arm. He was carried out of the battlefield and treated.
April 1st, 1942, Desmond Doss joined the U.S. Army. Little did he realize that soon he would be standing on the White House lawn, receiving the nation's highest award for his bravery and faith, the Congressional Medal of Honor. His commanding officer came to his rescue as he wanted to tell him that he won the Medal of Honor. This made him the only conscientious objector to do so. President Harry Truman said, "I'm proud of you." After multiple hours of them risking their lives on the battlefield, they found Desmond's precious Bible, which was beaten and battered. The pages were sodden and the ends were burned. The Medal of Honor has dark green oak clusters located close to the 5 stars representing strength. A simple profile of Minerva, the helmeted goddess of wisdom and war, rests in the center of the medal. The words United States of America surround the central engraving. There's a wreath of laurel leaves, a symbol of victory that was added on in 1904. The 13 stars on the ribbon for the 13 original colonies. Doss would later be admitted to a hospital because of his PTSD and the fact that he was having nightmares. He would check in regularly over the next 5 years. Doss lived a happy life and finally died of a respiratory ailment on March 23, 2006, while sitting at home. He will forever be remembered as the legendary hero of Hacksaw Ridge.